On this episode of Brokers Open Podcast, we talk about how to generate more business and grow your branding with print marketing. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brokers Open Podcast. I'm Dr. Ben Spears, the Doctor of Flow. I'm here with the big guy as usual, Matt Vi. What's up, Matt?
Man, just you know it, living the dream.
He's living the dream, guys. Just living
That's
the
right.
dream. I want you to say it from now on every time, man. I know I made you hesitant there.
Living the dream. Living the dream.
Yeah,
How
he's
about
living
that?
the dream.
Wait,
Absolutely.
in case a couple episodes I forget.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have an amazing topic. We have an amazing topic today, and we always want to just dive right into it so we can get the action steps to you guys.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about, postcards, right? And so some of you may be thinking, oh, man, that's old school.
Right.
No.
Right.
Postcards and these coming soon, these just listed campaigns, man, can be an absolute game changer for your business and generate new business as well. So,
Absolutely.
Matt, why don't you talk to us just a little bit, kind of give us a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about from a generality.
Yeah. So, big picture is, we've talked a lot about, running your business and what to do with running your business recently, right? We've spent a lot of time on that. We don't ever want to get far away from, hey, what can I do to make money? We don't ever want to get far away from that. Right. And so that's what we figured we'd do. We talk a little bit specifically about, getting some more listings right now because listings equal lastings. We know that that's the name of the game, especially with a lot of the changes that are happening in real estate. I think it's going to become more and more relevant that you're even not like it wasn't before, but even more relevant in the future, making sure that you're in control of the listing and the marketing opportunities that come along with it, right? Because that's one of the big things that happens with listings is it does give you that opportunity to say, hey, I'm in the real estate business. I'm doing the things that I need to be doing. Here's what's actually going on in real estate, okay?
Awesome. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so let's just dive right into it, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is for people who obviously have listings of their own, but it's for people who don't have listings as well. Correct. So I want to make sure that everybody, gets some touch points here. Let's talk about the first thing, which is leveraging recent sales, with one of these types of campaigns and touch on, hey, I have recent sales and I don't have recent sales. Can I utilize this?
Yeah, love it. So I have recent sales. Of course, what does that mean? That means that you want to send the information out saying, hey, this is what has recently happened. Okay. That's also the time when you can say, hey, I've collected buyers, right? Because that's what, because only one person is going to buy the house. If you're doing it right, just one person buys it. If you're doing it wrong, 3 or 4 people try to buy it.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, it's just going to be one person buying it. So you're sending information out. And when you send that information out, what's happening is you're saying, hey, I had this property and I have buyers associated with it. So one of the things that you've got to be really careful about, don't be too general whenever you're doing this if you already have listings. Don't say, hey, I just sold a property. Do you want to sell yours? Let me sell yours. Okay. Instead, you want to say something a little bit more specific. Just recently sold a 2,200 square foot home that was 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a great school zone. And have some buyers that were interested and only one person could buy the house. If that sounds like your house and you want to realize your equity, give me a call and let's see if we can connect these buyers with your equity or with your opportunity to sell or however you want to put that, right? Take it to Chat GPT and let it help you out, right? Or Gronk or whatever it is you use. So that's taking what you currently have and leveraging it to get more business. Okay.
Yep.
But if you're newer in the business and you don't have that, you can go along that same line within your brokerage or with permission and all that kind of stuff outside your brokerage. Because remember, whenever someone has an exclusive right to sell, that brokerage has the exclusive right to market that property.
Right.
You cannot market that property without their permission. Okay.
100%.
All right. So let's make sure that you have permission and everything. But go to your broker and say, hey, look, I'd like to generate some opportunities on the seller side of things. What are some recent properties that have sold that I might be able to leverage the details of those properties? And all you're going to change is it's going to go from I recently sold this to my company recently sold this. People aren't going to notice the difference. A lot
Yeah.
of times agents really get caught up in, well, I have to say that I did it for people to believe that I'm whatever. That's not what's happening. What's happening is people are looking at the picture. They're saying something got sold. They're saying, oh, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This really is about me. I want my equity. That's what people are seeing on the postcard.
Yeah.
It does not have to say, I am the one that sold this.
Yeah. Recently sold by
Yeah.
Billy Bob. Yeah.
We recently sold.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Or just recently sold.
Absolutely. If you really want to summarize it, recently sold.
Yeah.
Oh, and so at that point, get the permission from the broker, talk to them, make sure that everybody's on the same page. Because what you also don't want is don't run around your office stirring stuff up with people, right?
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Oh. Don't start, don't go to the broker and talk about recently sold something and then send something out to a neighborhood that the person that actually just sold it also sent something out to the neighborhood. Don't be that guy, right? Or that gal. But from a big picture standpoint, you want to make sure that you have that permission. And once you have it, say, this is what we sold. And I'm going to encourage you to be a little more specific. Mm-hmm. Now, who you send it to matters. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. And so before we touch on that, I want to go to the flippity flop. All right. Which is, we talked about recently sold. Uh-huh. Now I want to talk about coming soon, right? Because again, that's two different milestones within a property, and I just like to touch on those. It's coming soon. I guess we can go into like just listed, right? We can break this down in whatever too. But at the end, it's recently sold. At the beginning, it's coming soon. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit about that again. Like, hey, this is some agent's listing that they just went and got. They know how to list a coming soon. Uh-huh. I don't have it. It's not my listing. Can you do the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's be really specific about this part. Okay. So coming soon has a specific set of rules around it that you have to abide by. Number one, know what those rules are. Do not go outside those rules. But here's where the line in the sand kind of is. If it's your listing, you know the details about it. You know what you're allowed to do. You know if the right paperwork is in place. You know what the MLS rules are because you're the one that's putting it on the market. You've had the conversations with the seller. That would be the time that you want to look at the coming soon and see if that's something that you would actually be able to do. If it's not your listing, as an example, it's just somebody else in the office, I'd steer away from the coming soon. In that situation, what I would do is I would wait till they're just listed. Okay. And so I would get the just listed and send those out and leverage them the same way that we just talked about just a second ago in order to get that business to drive that listing opportunity to you. Hey, this is what just was just listed. We're already getting buyers and interest on this property. If you want to realize the equity in your home, like these sellers are, reach out to me as soon as possible. And that way we can leverage the amount of buyers that we have coming in to help you put more money in your bank account. Something along that line, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's perfect. And so, yeah, we've touched on two sides of that coin, both sides of that coin. Now I want to actually talk about like a plan, right? Because now we got to have a plan. Now we got to know who we want to send this to. What do we want the card to look like? Yep. I don't know necessarily the details that you want to go into this, but let's talk about. I'm an agent. I'm coming to you, and I'm saying I want to do a postcard campaign. Mm-hmm. What's my first step?
Yeah. So the first step is you have to know who it's going to go to. So if you're getting ready to put the postcard campaign out there, so here's the mistake that I see a lot of people making. They spend 3 or 4 or 5 days getting the information together on how to make that perfect postcard. There are ugly postcards that work. That's just the truth. The reality is if you get the right information or the information and a good call to action in front of the right audience, you're going to get better results than having the perfect card and putting it in front of the wrong audience. So the key here is make sure you work on your audience first. Who's going to receive that postcard? So that means, is it a move up, move down neighborhood? Is it the same neighborhood because there's a lot of churn in it? Are you sending it out to your sphere of influence? Are you sending it out to investors, right? So let's go back to the coming soon or to the just listed, like we were talking about just a second ago. Sometimes properties come on the market and you know that they're just going to sell quicker than other properties, right? There's a lot of opportunity loaded into that. Well, what you could do is inside your sphere of influence, you could have people that have raised your hand through your conversations with them and said, you know what? If a great investment property comes across your desk, I'd like for you to reach out to me. They should be marked and labeled inside your CRM a certain way to make sure that when that opportunity does come up, you've got that targeted audience that you're going to send that information out to. Okay. Now, So that means that your sphere of influence might have some people that are investors, plus you have another group of people that maybe aren't in your sphere of influence. They really don't, they really don't love you. They're not going to tell other people about you. They're not going to call you and say, hey, I want you to help me out with buying and selling this house. But they would buy a house if it was the right one. Those two groups together make an audience for the right type of product. That's the mistake that a lot of people make, is they think that this postcard or this mailing that they're going to send out is going to be the silver bullet. It's not. What's going to happen is the right messaging in front of the right audience is what's going to create that tremendous amount of response to you and results, which is actually what you're looking for.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So, okay, now we kind of have an idea of like, okay, who we're sending this out. There are postcards that are like long and skinny.
Uh-huh.
There's some that are square. There's some that are rectangular. Mm-hmm. Right? This is kind of like a simpleton question. Is there one that you like prefer, or like in your experience of people doing? No, just getting
absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I always sent out the long ones.
Right. Yep.
Like that was the one that they were kind of like letter shaped.
Uh-huh.
Those are the ones that are envelope shaped. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones that I always ended up using, but I wasn't sure if I never tried anything else, which is kind of weird. That's not like me.
Yeah. So we've got a great relationship with somebody that has an incredible background in print marketing, right? Yep. And so I've talked to him before about this. What about blue ink versus black ink, and handwritten versus typed, and the QR code on the front instead of on the back, or the QR code on the bottom instead of the top of the letter, or whatever, right? And he is of the same opinion that I am, and the same opinion that you are, and the same opinion that we want to share. Get it in front of the right audience and have a message that appeals to that audience, that speaks to that audience. And it doesn't matter whether it's the big jumbo postcard. It doesn't matter whether it's the letter. Let me give you an example. If you've got a low quality postcard that's printed out at your office on crappy paper, mm-hmm. and it's a luxury property, and you're sending it out to owners of a luxury property, and the property is valued 50% of market value on the property. Do you think that damn postcard matters?
Right. Yeah, no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'll buy that tomorrow.
Right. So what happens is the message that's on there and the audience that you're getting in front of makes a difference. Now, as those things start to narrow, meaning that maybe it's priced closer to market value. Maybe there's a lot of competition. So then the quality and the type of postcard and all those little things that have to do with the postcard or the letter that you're sending out or whatever, then all that starts to matter a little bit more. Mm-hmm. As the audience gets more finite, the messaging has to be better and the audience has to be better.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So now I want to actually talk about kind of the delivery of these things, mm-hmm. right? Because you can go door to door, you can hand them out and stick them in the what do they call that? Just stick them under the door, the mail slot through the front door.
Right.
I don't know if people still have those.
Yep.
But you can also do every door direct mail.
Yep.
You can form an assembly line with you and your kids and lick stamps and envelopes or whatever you need to do.
Absolutely.
There are also digital ways that you can just push a button and these things start going out as well.
Yep.
And by all means, there's subscriptions that you can buy and they'll do it for you.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about any and all of that. I like your opinion because you've had, mm-hmm. Thousands of agents that you've worked with over the years.
Yep.
And you have a lot of experience with that.
Yeah. So like holiday cards as an example, right? Mm-hmm. I would not send a jumbo postcard saying Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That needs to be right. Okay. So that kind of matches. That kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So that type of thing, slow down just a little bit. Make sure you're paying attention to what the message is and the audience and what you're trying to get across and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah. I think it needs to be first class. If it is a small, extremely targeted, I think it needs to be first class. Is my opinion. Okay. Now, with that being said, the less targeted the message, and the broader the audience, the less it needs to be first class.
Okay.
So if you're going to shotgun approach something, then man, you're not going to want to first class it. One is just going to be cost prohibitive. Okay. Yep. And it would make more sense to do. And I'm going to say lower quality because it's the right word, but I don't want people to think about that the wrong way. I don't want low quality. I said lower quality.
Yeah, with the ER.
That's right. It would be better to do lower quality and more quantity than just very high quality and a low quantity. Right? So consistency is absolutely positively the key. And so we want to make sure that we're pushing that message out consistently. So think about your budget. Because if your budget is like, you know what, I want to send out 10,000 a month and I want it to be the highest possible quality, and I can wait the next, year and a half before I start getting results, because 3 sales in the neighborhood that I'm in, that the average price is $4.5 million.
Yeah.
Those postcards, how much I'm paying for those postcards just isn't going to matter.
It'll be irrelevant.
Right. It's not going to matter.
Yeah.
And so you keep all of that in mind, right? So that all that matters and all of that counts in this situation. But with that being said, what you should be looking at is a campaign. Do not look at your just listed and your coming soon and your I want more listings in your neighborhood and I've got buyers if you want your equity. All of those things should be a campaign, not an event. It is a process, not an event.
Yeah, I like that a lot, because you definitely hear of agents who will send out postcards like one time and be like, "Well, I didn't get anything out of it."
Yeah. Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
I know. And
they would spend 3.5 weeks to come into my office 6 times. What about this postcard? What do you think about that? And I'm gonna this and like 6 times, and they'd finally send out one postcard, and I'd ask them, how it went and what's going on and everything. Well, I didn't get any results from it. Well, no, you just spent 2.5 weeks of your life and $1,500 on one shot to the wrong audience with the wrong product. I mean, I told you so, right?
Yeah.
But, what do I know?
Yeah. You don't know nothing, man.
I don't know nothing.
It's supposed to work one time every time.
That's right.
Doesn't everybody knows that.
I'm supposed to get triple my money back, whatever I spent.
Yeah, exactly.
That's marketing.
That's how all marketing works.
Right, that's correct.
That's how all marketing works.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted to bring that up because you've mentioned the word campaign in there, several times, and it truly is a campaign.
Yep,
right.
correct.
Whether it be like postcards all the way through the military, right? Like a campaign is a campaign.
Correct.
And so that's something good to keep in mind. Now, okay, I'm an agent. I'm like, okay, I've got I either have my own listing that I just sold, or I've got permission from my broker to market something. Now I know the different ways that I can send it out, right?
Yeah, let's say one more thing about that really quick.
Thing.
So when we talk about consistency, in my opinion, your best opportunity is that it's not just a whole bunch. It's not just 8 postcards in a row.
Right.
Right. It is. I would think it would be better off than instead of, because 8 postcards, 1 postcard a week is proven to work. Okay. So let's don't get into that. Let's don't go down that rabbit hole. But you would be better off with a better result of 1 postcard, 8 postcards every other week or every 2 weeks. And in between, you're making a phone call to make sure that they receive the postcard. You've got a text message that's going out, and you got an email that's going out somewhere along the way in between those, so that it looks like there is a campaign happening, not just a postcard event happening. Okay. Yep. Now, a bunch of postcards together that are consistently going out, singular message to a certain audience. Absolutely, that's a campaign. Okay. And yes, 100%, we all know that you can win with that. Okay.
Yep.
But my point is, the big picture point is, a campaign doesn't have to be all the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot. And just to give you guys like a little bit of a hint, you can do all this in our CRM.
Yep.
Right. Yep. I'm not going to say anything else about that right now. So the last thing that I want to talk about, because this is my favorite part, right? I always say the things I like till the end. Measuring what's coming out of it, and measuring the success and the metrics and the analytics of everything. How, that's probably the number one thing from a postcard standpoint that people will come back and say, well, I don't know. Like, did they throw it away? Did they not throw it away? I don't know. I don't know what happened. How can you actually measure the success that you're having through a postcard campaign? You mentioned it a little bit there, like, hey, you should be calling, you should be texting, and you talked to, you briefly touched on that. But how can you measure the success of a mail campaign?
Yeah, expectations and results, define results. Okay. So what I mean by that is, what are your expectations on this campaign? Okay. Was it just branding?
Yeah.
Because you could send things out just in a neighborhood and literally talk about the services that you offer. right?
Yeah.
I don't know that that's necessarily the best use of your money, but absolutely you could do that. And again, if you're going to be patient and it's a very competitive neighborhood and somebody else has got 35%, market share in that neighborhood, and you're trying to knock them out of the saddle, man, you might have to do some of that. You might have to put some brand out there just to kind of get your foot in the door. So you might want to do so. What is that result that you want? Is part of what define that. What is it that you're trying to accomplish, and then take a look at the expectations, right? So take a look at define that as well, right? So do I think that a result that I want to have is just a sale? Is that all I'm trying to get? Is that all I'm trying to get from that? Okay. A lot of people probably are listening to this and go, well, Matt, how the hell would I know if there's any other result? Okay. Well, here's how you'd know, in case you're thinking to yourself that. Pick up the damn phone and ask people if they got that postcard or not. Hey, I sent some information out to you. I just wanted to check and make sure that you got it.
Yeah.
Is how many people, like if you send out 100 postcards, how many people, expectation-wise, for you is a good result that if you try to reach out to those 100 people that you actually talk to and they say, yes, I got the postcard and yes, I like it. Don't you think that would tell you that you're on the right path?
Yeah.
If you send a postcard out to 100 people and you can't get in touch with any of them, you put a sincere effort into it, and you have no idea and you get no response from it, you have no idea what has happened with that. That's no different than you not calling them and asking them if they got it. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Yeah, and it also shows that you follow up and follow through.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if I'm there and I'm thinking, hey, I might want to list my house soon.
Yep.
And I get a postcard in the mail and I say, oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh, it looks like everybody else.
Yeah, it's like everybody else, but it's a high quality, good postcard, right? Let me put in the stack of the other ones that I got.
Right.
But then I get a call from you, but I don't get a call from everybody else.
Right.
And you say something along the lines of, hey, it's just really important whenever I list a home and I do the marketing that I make sure that I provide as much benefit to the seller that I'm representing. I'm just calling and making sure that you receive that, and letting you know that, gosh, if there's anybody that who'd be interested in that listing, man, I'd love to blah 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 blah.
Right.
Right.
So good.
Yep. And then how can you lose with that? Who's going to say, oh, quit doing a good job?
That's right. And if they do, take them off your damn list and don't spend the 79 cents on a postcard or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Take them off the list because there's somebody that's not going to appreciate anything that you do.
Yeah.
And isn't that an easier conversation to have? We talk about this all the time. Deliver value first.
Yeah.
You deliver that value of the postcard to them and then deliver the value on, hey, I just wanted to make sure that you got the postcard. And by the way, what'd you think of it? I use that postcard a lot with the listings that I have. Was that something that you thought was attractive or did it not stand out from everybody else? Do you mind if, can you answer a couple of questions for me?
Yeah.
All a decent person is going to think is, man, that's pretty good. That's good that they're calling and asking that. That's just going to help drive that home. That means you have to have defined the expectation of what a successful campaign is to you.
Yeah.
You have to define what you think a good result is. If you're doing that and you're putting the work in, man, you're going to get business from that. I'm just telling you, you're just going to get business from that.
Yeah, 100%. On that same call, if you say something like, I've got a newsletter that talks a lot about your neighborhood and that kind of thing. Would it be okay if I, put you on that newsletter? Right, it has to do with your neighborhood.
And at any point, you can just unsubscribe if you don't want it anymore.
Yeah, at any point, if you want to stop, you just stop. Would that be okay? Right? Like yes, no, or maybe.
Right. That's right. Except the Kleiner Men. It's real estate.
That's exactly right. So, yeah, perfect. I feel like a lot of good stuff came from this. Is there anything else that you want to add before?
Minimum of 8. Whatever it is, whatever your contact points are, minimum of 8. Don't bother doing it if you're not going to do at least 8.
Oh, gotcha. And so that's, of those 8, that's a mailer, that can be a phone call, that can be a text message, an email.
Yeah, if you want to be a jerk about it, send one postcard and call them 8 times. Hey, did you get that postcard?
7 times.
7 times, that's right. So
we're not going to do more than we have to, Matt.
That's right. Let's do the bare minimum. Gotcha. But yeah, I mean, figure out what the text messaging is and all that kind of stuff and everything. It doesn't just have to be that. Think it through. Make it a campaign. At least 8.
Yep. I love that. Well, a lot of good stuff from this episode, guys. We really appreciate you watching. I'm going to leave you with what I feel is probably the most important piece of the entire episode, which is postcards are kind of like agents. Even ugly ones can sell houses.
I gotcha. I like it.
Hey guys, appreciate you watching. Don't forget Brokers Open Podcast, powered by Prime Real Estate Coaching. It's not just about opening the door to more opportunities. It's about closing more transactions.
Thanks, everybody.